Gaming giant NVIDIA down 6.8% in pre-market trading here. Limits on what the U.S. allows tech firms to sell to China are part of this. Marketplace's Nova Safo has more.
NVIDIA disclosed in a regulatory filing that it's taking a $5.5 billion charge because the U.S. government is issuing new limits on exports of certain NVIDIA chips. These limits are on lower-powered chips, which NVIDIA specifically designed to deal with previous export controls. Those controls were set up to slow China's advancements in artificial intelligence. The Commerce Department said the new limits also apply to other chip makers, such as AMD. Meanwhile, there was concerning news from the leading company that makes the equipment necessary to build high-powered chips. That company is the Netherlands-based ASML, and it said its outlook for this year and next has become more cloudy. It also missed analyst estimates for quarterly results, and its forecast of future sales came in below expectations. ASML has manufacturing operations in the U.S., but an executive said the company is not sure whether tariffs will raise the costs of shipping parts here or shipping finished product out to other countries. I'm Nova Safo for Marketplace.
NASDAQ futures are down 1.4% in the downdraft coming from the microchip stocks. S&P futures are down 0.7%. Dow futures are down 0.2%. News just now, retail sales went up 1.4% in March. That's more than expected as shoppers stock up on goods, planning for tariffs that could drive prices higher ahead. The 10-year Treasury yield is up at 4.33%. There's news China's economy grew by 5.4% January to March. That's lower by its modern standards, but it did beat expectations today. Meanwhile, China unexpectedly appointed a new top trade negotiator. Stephen McDonnell reports from Beijing.
Li Chengang's appointment is seen as a sign that Beijing is preparing for a tough period of trade relations following the onslaught of Donald Trump's 145% tariffs on Chinese goods. China's new trade representative has decades of experience as a negotiator and was formerly the country's ambassador to the World Trade Organization. With the US president declaring that the ball is in China's court, the latest economic growth figures for this country were released. But a senior official from the National Bureau of Statistics did acknowledge that the US tariffs will put certain pressures on our country's foreign trade and economy.
Stephen McDonnell is the China correspondent for the BBC. The Trump administration has given operators of 66 coal-fired power plants the ability to keep emitting toxics, including benzene, arsenic, and mercury, for at least 2 years. The Associated Press noticed the list of the exemptions from Biden-era clean air rules posted on the EPA's website. Dominion, NRG, and Southern Company are among the firms with power plants in this category.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Mercury. Mercury is a fintech dedicated to helping businesses protect their money and power their financial workflows. Mercury, powerful banking, simplified finances. More at mercury.com. And by Commvault. When companies face ransomware and outages, they can recover data and business in just minutes with Commvault.
Wildfires destroying 16,000 homes and other structures in Los Angeles County. More recently, flooding and tornadoes in the Midwest upending lives. And our friends in North Carolina and beyond still piecing together after the hurricanes. People want to build in more resilience to their homes. A roof that doesn't blow off or catch fire, vents in the foundation or attic that don't suck in flaming embers, lifting homes above high water marks. Sure, why not? But it costs money. Tim Sheehy, a Republican senator from Montana, and Adam Schiff, a Democrat from California, have an idea. I spoke to Senator Schiff. Good morning.
Good morning.
If this were to become law, people could write off half the cost of what?
Well, those same improvements that you mentioned. So if you wanted to replace your roof with one that would be less likely to be set ablaze in a fire, it would be covered up to $25,000, 50% of the cost overall. But if you want to do brush clearance or other things to harden your home, whether against fire or flood or other natural disasters, this is a way to do it. And you don't have to be a victim of a natural disaster in the past. You just have to live in a state where there's been a major disaster declaration, which covers most of the states. And, the benefit is not just for the particular homeowner. What we saw in the tragic LA fires when we had 100-mile-an-hour winds is you could have embers traveling a mile or two, go through and then that house would set the whole neighborhood on fire. And so if you can harden that one home or several around it, you may save the whole neighborhood.
fine print here is it's up to 25 grand if a family makes less than 200,000 a year, and then it phases out above that.
It phases out at 300,000. So above 200 and going to 300, there's a phase out. That's a compromise to try to get the broadest support possible. And we also want to make sure that we can help as many families as possible. What we've seen from some studies is that it not only pencils out in the end, but also ends up saving 5 or 6 times the investment in that tax credit in the cost of avoiding these incredibly costly disasters.
You've started with some bipartisan support here, but does something like this get through this Congress with its focus on tax cuts?
It is the kind of thing that can get through. Now, it could get swallowed up in the big tax cut bill or could be handled separately, but I think there'll be a lot of bipartisan support for the idea. It's the kind of thing that can move even in a highly partisan and polarized Congress.
This is about money for disaster mitigation. It comes at a time when the Trump administration is seen as pulling the other way on that topic with cuts to disaster mitigation funds. You saw from FEMA to places like, for instance, New York State. The administration's idea seems to be that states should pay for this kind of stuff.
So they are certainly moving in the wrong direction when it comes to protecting us from natural disasters. But, apart from these spending cuts, they seem to have an insatiable appetite for tax cuts. And this is a form of a tax cut. It's a tax credit. So this might cut in the other direction. That's why I say even in this environment, we have a chance of getting it done.
Senator Adam Schiff is a Democrat from California. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And in Los Angeles, I'm David Brancaccio. This is the Marketplace Morning Report. From APM, American Public Media.